your lower body settling in. So grateful that we could all practice this morning with all of the power outages and life events happening for all of us. I'm really grateful that we can arrive here together and carve out this time for self-care. So take a nice deep breath in through your nose and then let out a sigh, a cleansing breath. And maybe shrug your shoulders up as you breathe in. Good, let's do one more. Breathe it in. Good. And bring a hand to your belly and a hand over your heart. And just take a few breaths here, just feeling the weight of your hands on your body, connecting to yourself, to your body, and to your mood, to however you're feeling today, your emotions, whatever's true for you in this moment. As we did a few weeks ago, practicing Ayeka, asking yourself, where are you? What's up for you today in this moment? You might even be able to sense or feel your heartbeat under your hand. If you press in a little more or bring both hands over the heart, you might feel the thumping of the heart. Some of you might feel a little pulsing in your fingertips. Connecting to the muscle of your heart, the emotional and spiritual heart. Good. And then let your hands rest wherever feels most comfortable for you. You can just keep your eyes closed if you'd like to and breathe full, soft breaths as I read to you this, the theme for today, which is a continuation of a couple of weeks ago we did modern health practices that have ancient Jewish roots. So we practiced Ayeka, and I introduced the idea of practicing Hitbodedut, going into nature and just kind of having a conversation with yourself to connect to yourself. So this week I'd like to talk about another practice with ancient Jewish roots and share some Jewish wisdom. It's on exercise and movement. Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon was a Talmudist, halachist, physician, philosopher, and communal leader, known in the Jewish world by the acronym Rambam and to the world at large as Maimomides. Maimomides codified the laws of Shabbat, holidays, prayer, dietary laws, and the laws that regulate the Jew's daily life. He also wrote a section on eating healthy, fitness, and mental health, teaching future learners that all of our actions should be permeated with holiness and godliness. The health and well-being of the body, he writes, is part of one's service to God. Maimonides taught that the health of the body was to come first, before all else, as the basis for spiritual pursuit. So if we apply this today in a modern way, we see that exercise is still really important. It's important for our mental health, for our spiritual health, our physical health. And it doesn't have to look like going to the gym. It doesn't have to look like stuff that feels uncomfortable or painful or boring. It can be anything that brings you joy, that gets your heart rate up for a certain period of time. And so as a personal trainer, my trainings, it says 30 minutes a day for 5 to 7 days a week. And It really doesn't take much to give yourself that 30 minutes. Today actually counts. Today counts as cardiovascular exercise because of the nature of the poses that we'll be doing. And if you don't already practice cardiovascular exercise like brisk walking, or if you have something at home like a treadmill or a bike, an indoor bike, if you don't already do something for your heart 5 days a week at minimum, maybe start to add a day or add 2 days. Wherever you are now, see if you can add a day. If you're a total rock star and you're already doing something 7 days a week, add another 30 minutes or another 15 minutes, because it keeps our hearts really healthy. And we want to work in a range, so we don't want to be at 100% of our maximum heart rate. We want to be somewhere between 50 and 75% of our maximum heart rate. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later, about how to figure that number out. Some of you might already know that, and some of you it might be review or a good reminder, or maybe you don't know at all how to find your good heart rate range. So I'm going to help you do that today, just in support of this theme for our bodies and our health. So let's do this. Let's start moving our spine first and wake up our bodies. So from your seated position, you can start to do a little cat-cow movement. So I'll go sideways. So a seated cat-cow, so rounding the whole back, tucking your chin, tucking your tailbone, reach your hands out in front of you, and then inhale and arch your back, gaze up at the sky, draw your shoulders down your back, slide the shoulder blades together, and take another deep breath in, and then exhale, round the spine, pull the belly in, and as you breathe, go nice and slow, so take slow breaths, and match the pace of the movement to the breathing. So a full exhale is in the rounding position, and a full inhale in the arch and in the heart opening. Remember to pull that navel in toward the spine as you round. And as you round and exhale, spread the shoulder blades apart and drop the shoulders away from your ears. So you're getting right into the rhomboids between the shoulder blades, stretching that space behind the heart. Inhaling, creating space in the diaphragm area, opening the chest. Last one. Good. So now for a neck release. I'm going to have you bring your chin towards your chest, and this is going to be really slow. And then start to draw a line from your chin across your collarbone. So go on the left, draw a line on your collarbone. Start to tilt your chin as if you're pouring water out of your left ear. So your chin is tilted up just a bit. Pour that water out. Good. And now just turn your head to look down at the floor on the left side. So the spine actually rotates. So now you're looking down towards your left shoulder or the left floor. Good. And then start to, don't do a full circle. Don't look all the way back, but just lift the chin, stretch the front of the neck. Until now you're pouring water out of the right ear, back behind you. Bring the right ear to the right shoulder, and then turn your head so that you're looking down at your right shoulder, right floor. Good. And then start to draw that line across your collarbones with your chin. Do that again. We're going to draw the line across the collarbones until you're pouring water out of your left ear. Keep breathing, and then turn your head so you're looking down at your left shoulder or toward your left shoulder. Take a breath here. Good. Slowly start to gaze upward without dropping the head all the way back, just stretching the front of the neck. Bringing the right ear toward the right shoulder, just pouring water out of the right ear. And then right ear toward right shoulder. And then turn your head, gaze down towards your right. Good. And then bring the chin back to the chest. And then we'll do that going the other way. So draw a line across your collarbones going toward the right. Tilt your head back, pouring water out of the right ear. Bring your head up, gaze up. Pour water out of the left ear over your left shoulder. Bring left ear to left shoulder. Now turn your head and look down. Good. And one more time, draw a line with your chin across your chest all the way over to the right shoulder. Right ear to right shoulder. Tilt your head back just a little bit. And then turn and look over the right shoulder. And then look up. Stretch the front of the neck. Last time here. Pour water out of your left ear. Bring left ear to left shoulder, and then turn your head to look down to the left side of your mat. And then bring your chin back to center. Let your chin just rest on toward your chest. Take a breath here, and then look up, nice and slow. Good. And then do some big shoulder circles. Good. All right, if you're on a block or on a chair, you can go ahead and come to the floor. Let's see. Let's come onto the back and hug the knees into the chest and just stretch out that lower back. So with the hands on the knees, start to pull the knees in toward your chest and then press the knees away. So you always have contact with your knees, but the knees move away from the chest and then draw circles so the knees come back to the chest. And as you draw circles, just keep moving the knees in and out. So we keep our hands on the legs so that we don't use our abdominals for this. And notice the contact that your sacrum and lower back makes with your mat as you draw these circles. You might be able to touch the outer edges of the sacrum or maybe even the top of the hip bones in the back. And reverse your circles and keep breathing in and out. We'll do some really subtle work for the lower back today. Okay, bring your feet to the floor. And so your feet will be close to your bottom, about a block width apart. The skinny side of the block width apart. And bring your hands, your fingertips to your frontal hip bones. And just start to do some pelvic tilting. So inhaling as you create a little arch in that lower back, and exhaling as you tuck your tailbone without lifting your butt off the floor though, and just press your lower back into the floor. And then inhale into your arch. Nice full breath, exhale. Imprint that lower spine into the floor. Feel your abdominals activate as you do that. And on your own, rocking back and forth this pelvic tilt, and see if you can keep your knees still as you do this. So they hopefully aren't wobbling all around. You want them pointed straight up to the ceiling. And in this movement, notice if it feels sticky or clunky. And also notice if there are parts of the movement that feel smooth and seamless. Good. Rest your back now so you have just a natural curve in your spine. And now imagine that your sacrum is just sitting on top of the face of a clock. And so as you arch your back, as you tilt your pelvis forward, you're touching 12 o'clock on the face of the clock. And as you tuck your pelvis, you're touching 6 o'clock. So we've been doing 12 and 6. So now just pressing into the right side of your sacrum, almost like dropping your right hip toward the floor. Now you're touching 3 o'clock. And now pressing into 9 o'clock. So if your fingertips are still on your frontal hip bones, you're going to feel that they seem like they're moving a little bit from side to side, or maybe even up and down. So just making this movement from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock as smooth as you can. If your shoulders are starting to gather a little tension, see if you can relax that. Good. And then come back to center, right in the center of the clock. And now we'll just go around the whole clock. So start with 12 and see if you can tap into 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 where you're in your pelvic tilt, and 7 and 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Good. And then we'll go counterclockwise from 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and 12, and you're back in your arch, and then relax completely. Just relax. Now walk your feet away from each other so that they're almost to the outer edges of your mat, and lean your knees in toward each other and just release the effort of the lower back and sacrum. And take a few belly breaths here. Good. So walk your feet back in toward each other. Hug your knees in toward your chest. And then release your right leg to the floor. You can have it straight or bent if it needs to be. And just keep your left knee hugged in towards your rib cage. And give it a squeeze, and then do some ankle rotations. You can always use your strap here if you need to as we move into a couple of other stretches. So I want you to really, if your leg is straight, really extend it nice and long. If it's not straight, that's totally fine. We're going to extend the leg if we can and squeeze the left knee into the chest, create some compression in the hip joint. And then do some circles with that knee in both directions. We're warming up these hips for our standing poses. And now take the back of the leg with your hands. If you need a strap, please feel free to use one. And we're going to hold the leg, and we're going to bend the knee, bring that heel toward the floor, and then extend the leg to the sky again. Breathe in, bend. Breathe out, extend. Breathe in, bend. Breathe out, extend. Good. A couple more times. Keep your foot flexed so that when you get your leg up, you're really getting some stretch in the back of that leg. Good. One more time. Good. Now go ahead and take that left knee and open it out to the side. You can hold it if you'd like to. I'm holding mine from underneath just to give some extra support. And breathe into the inner thigh here. Bring the leg back to center. Extend it again toward the sky. Flex your foot. Now hold the outer leg with your right hand and just guide your leg across your body. It won't take much to get into the outer hip, IT band. Now bend the left knee and continue to move toward the right, coming into a twist. And bringing that left arm out to the side so you've got some space opening up across the chest. One more breath here. Pull your navel in and bring the leg back to center. And then we're going to switch sides. So choose whether you want to extend the left leg or keep it slightly bent, and hug your right knee into your rib cage. Do some ankle rotations. Squeeze and press so you create compression in the hip joint. And then do some circles using your hands as a guide. Make sure you go both directions. And then holding onto the back of the right thigh with that right foot flex, we're going to reach it up and then bend and pull the leg into the ribs again. And then reach up and pull the leg in. Breathe with each movement, however feels most natural for you, whatever feels the most supportive. Extend, reach the heel, and pull it in. So we're just dynamically warming up these muscles today. Let's do 2 more. Extend, and then compress. And last one. Good. Now take your knee and open it out to the side. You might hold the shin with your right hand. And breathe into the inner thigh. And then bring the knee up to center, straighten the leg again as much as you can, and use your left hand to hold onto the leg. With that right foot flexed, we'll cross the body just a little bit. And breathe into the hip. Go ahead and bend that right knee and take it into a twist, opening the right arm out to the side and getting a nice stretch in the waist and abdominal region along with the lower back. Good. Pull your belly in before you bring the knee back up to center. And then stretch that leg out. So now let's have both legs straight and reach your arms back behind you. Reach and take a big breath in, full body stretch. And then come back into a little ball. Squeeze your knees in, maybe rocking side to side. Good. And then as you're ready, just roll to your side. We're going to come up onto all fours. If you have sensitive wrists or any wrist injuries, you can always come onto the knuckles if you want. But we want to bring the wrists and elbows under the shoulders and the knees under the hips in little box shape here. So rounding the spine, just a couple of times rounding and arching. And then open the knees a little bit wider than hip width apart and sit back into a child's pose. You can have your arms forward if you'd like. Go ahead and start to rock forward again. But bring your right arm up and over your head. Inhale, right arm up and over. And then come back into child's pose. Come up, lift the right arm up and over, and back into child's pose. So as you come up and lift the arm, you'll have a little bit of a twist, a little bit of chest opening. Inhale, up and over, get a nice range of motion in that shoulder if it's available to you today. Couple more times. Good. Last time. Good. We're going to do that on the left side. We're going to lift the left arm, reach up and around and back to child. Inhale up, around, and back. Go nice and slow, so connect the movement to the pace and depth of your breath. Exhaling as you're in child's, inhaling as you lift and extend and circle. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Good. Good. Come on up to all fours. We're going to do a little transition to the side here. So I'm going to keep my left hand down, and I'm going to extend my right leg, but I'm going to turn sideways so that my waist and shoulders are facing you, and you'll be facing me, hopefully, or whatever direction you're facing. This is already a balancing pose, so find what feels as stable as possible for you. So you might just stay here, or you might try to hover the right leg up. Ooh, if you start to fall out of it, it's okay, because we're fairly close to the floor here, so you just reach down and stabilize yourself if you need to. So hold the navel in and lift the leg up and then lower. You might lift your leg up and hold it and create some heat in the legs. Good. And lower. Hand can be on your hip here. If this feels easy for you, if today you're having a great day, it feels really easy, and you want to try to lift your arm up, you can. If you want to modify this and use both hands for balance and lift your leg side to side, you can. You're probably going to feel this in the outer hip though. It's a little different than when our hips are square to the floor. Then we're like in our glutes. So just warming up the hip. Your heart rate might even be going up just a bit. Good. Last time. And release. Let's do child's pose. Stretch out those hips and buns. All right, let's change sides. So we're gonna stabilize with the right arm now. Extend the left leg. The left hand might be on the hip or up. So just start to lift and lower the leg just a few times. Or you might stay here just to feel some stability first and then try lifting the leg. So wherever you're at is totally fine. This is just for fun. Just ways to warm up the body. What is important is that you engage your core though. So pull your navel in as if it could touch your spine. And maybe you lift and lower, or maybe you hold it. Whatever you do, keep your left foot flexed. And breathe. Good. I love you're all just working within your limits, challenging yourself as you want to today. One more breath. Good. Lower everything down. And take another child's pose. Stretch it out. Okay. So now we're going to come up to all fours again. And this is a preparatory pose for our warrior series. So we're back in tabletop. Walk your left knee in a little closer to your right knee. Pull your navel in. So if your lower back is kind of sagging, you want to pull the belly in and lift, inflate your kidney area so that your back is flat like a table. And then extend your right leg out with the foot flexed. So this time, those hip bones are facing straight down to the floor, so the hips are square. You can stay like this, or you can lift your left arm with the palm facing inward. So we're in bird dog pose right now. Reach in opposite directions, pull the navel in, make your spine nice and long, and breathe. Maybe bringing the knee and elbow in toward each other with a little rounding of the back. Woo! And then inhale, extend, back out again. Go as slow as you want to go with this. Take a break if you need to. Inhaling as we extend, really reaching, making that leg active. Exhaling as we round, engaging the core. Last time. Good, release. Maybe sit back, shake out your wrists. And we'll take the second side. So in tabletop, bring the right knee a little closer to the left knee and then extend the left leg. So as you extend the left leg, watch out for backs sagging. So you only need to lift it maybe 6 inches, 8 inches. Pull the navel in. Make sure your hips, both of them, are aiming straight down toward the floor. Stay like this or lift your right hand with the palm facing in. Keep breathing in and out through the nose. Maybe rounding the back a bit, bringing elbow to knee to elbow. Inhaling to extend. Exhaling to bring those limbs toward each other. You're in control here, so do what you can. Do what you can while honoring your body. Let's do one more. And last reach and release. Take a child's pose, shake out your wrists, take a breath or two, just checking in with your heart. So notice, can you feel your heartbeat? Can you feel your breath, the pace of your breath? When we're breathing a little faster, a little harder, our heart rate is elevated. Okay, so coming out of this pose, we are going to practice a plank pose. So, for plank, this is the deal. So for plank, it's easier on your core to do a plank with your arms straight, but your palms would be flat. It's hard to do a plank on knuckles. So if you have sore wrists, it's easier to do a plank on your forearms, but it's harder on your core. So pick your battle, pick your evil. The other thing we can also do, because I know not all of us do plank all the time, is you can do a modified plank. So you're in your all fours, and instead you just walk your knees out a little bit and walk your hands forward, and you bring your hips down. So I'm in a modified plank, and my core is working here. So you can also do a modified plank like this. You can come to your forearms and do a modified plank on your knees. What I'm looking for is you activate your core. So right here, my core is really working. You want to suck it in. You want to press the ground away from you, no matter if you're on your wrists or your forearms. You want to press the ground away from you and spread those shoulder blades apart. Gaze down at your mat. Keep your neck long. Pull your belly in and breathe. Take a break if you need to. Your whole body should be super warm right now. You might be internally cursing me. Smile if you can. Good, and then lower down. Did you guys do that with me, or was I the only one? It's really hard to see you on the little screen. I hope you did it with me. All right, so stretch your body nice and long. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Bring your hands close to your sides. We'll just do a little baby cobra here. Hands are close to the lower ribs. Legs are nice and tight. Inhale, lift up. Keeping the neck long. Slide the shoulders down the back. Good, and lower down. Again, straighten out those legs. Squeeze the muscles, suck your belly button in and start to lift up. So from here, you could stay like this, or you could lift your feet off the floor and start to, like you're snorkeling, right? Wish we were snorkeling. Don't you wish we were snorkeling? Squeeze your legs together, use your little flippers, and imagine you're snorkeling, unless you hate it. Good. Squeeze your legs, use your back, and lower down. Rest your cheek to one side, rest your arms. Take some breaths. Feel your heart. So you're laying on your belly, It's a lot easier to feel the heart beating when you're laying prone like this, face down. Feel your heart, thank your heart for giving you the circulation you need to send blood and nutrients to the areas that are working. It's really a miracle. Good. Okay. We're going to come up out of this nice and careful, so pull your belly in and try not to sag that lower back as you come up. I'm going to give you all a nice little break. We're going to use our massage ball. Come to stand. And we will do some foot massage. So, getting the ball under the right foot. So as you massage your feet, I'll talk a little bit about finding the right heart rate. I know what you can do, the easiest thing you can do is Google it, right? You can go to Google and say, heart rate range for my age, or heart rate range for 54-year-old. And it'll probably just pop right up. But you can also just take a formula of 220 and you subtract your age from it. So let's say you're 60. So you take 220, you subtract 60, and you get 160. Well, that's not the heart rate range you want. You want 160 times, you multiply it times 50%, all the way up to 70 to 75%. So if you did that, if you were 60, go ahead and switch feet, and you did that little formula, you'd come up with a heart rate range of, I think it was 80 to 120. Yeah. So, if you took 160 times 50%, you got 80, which is like the lower range of cardiovascular strain. And then the higher range is anywhere from 70 to 75% of that number that you get from subtracting your age from 220. So it sounds like a lot, but it's really easy, and you can find your range and then try to stay in that range when you're exercising. So bring the ball between your feet now. So it means your feet are going to have to come really close together. And you might even lift your inner feet, lift the inner arches a bit, and then press your feet together and press down on that ball. So you'll feel some pressure points right in the arch of the foot. And you can do this along the whole arch of your foot. So pick a spot and then kind of work in that area. So a lot of us have smartwatches or Fitbits, things like that, right? That'll tell us what our heart rate range is at. But even if you don't prefer to use one of those or have one, you can just take your pulse. Just take it for 15 seconds and then multiply it times 4, and then that lets you know if you're in that range. And if you're over it, if you're way over it, that just tells your body to not be so intense, to back off on your effort a little bit and stay right in that range. It's going to actually challenge your heart, but strengthen it in the long run, really make it able to endure more. Okay, so get into those arches because we're going to really want full connection to the floor when we go into these standing poses. Okay, move your ball off to the side. If you enjoy downward facing dog and your wrists don't give you trouble with that, you can go right into a downward facing dog, which is like this, which we very rarely do in my classes because we have so many sensitive wrists. So what I'm going to do is model downward facing dog on a chair. So my hands are on the seat of the chair. I'm going to start to walk my feet back. And feet are flat on the floor. And arms are straight, chest presses through the arms, neck is long, so I'm not letting the neck hang. I'm keeping my ears in line with my upper arms. Some of you might need to bend your knees a little bit for this, that's totally fine. So we're getting into the underarm area, the side body, the calves and the hamstrings. Breathe. You could kind of bend one knee and then the other, like you're walking in place. Good. To come out of this, pull your belly in and just walk your feet closer to the chair, and then press into the chair to come up with a flat back, just like we do when we're coming in and out of our forward folds. Hands can reach up overhead and come to the heart. Good. Let's reach up. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up with a nice long back. Exhale, fold all the way forward again. Good. Look up first. Reach your arms out and inhale, come up with your flat back. That looks really good, everybody. Hands to your heart. Great. Okay, so we're going to use our block. We're going to use the skinny side of the block and place it between the thighs. And then adjust your feet so they're not out like this, right? We want to walk our feet underneath. So you'll feel some compression here in the inner thighs. So that the knees, hip bones, knees and ankles, head, shoulders, knees and toes, they're all lined up. And then we're going to come into a chair pose. So when we do that, I want you to squeeze that block first. Squeeze, 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 pull the navel in and start to sit back in your, we can't cheat now, don't go sitting on your actual chair. So we want to come down as if we're going to sit in that chair. Reach the arms up or out to the sides in a cactus pose. Squeeze, sit back, get as much weight as you can in those heels, pull your belly in, tuck your tailbone underneath you just a little bit. If you are having any lower back issues, don't go down as low. Keep your bend just a little bit higher so you don't strain your lower back. Your heart rate should be increasing just a bit right now. Good, and release. Fold forward, take a breath. Let your block go. And then start to come up with a flat back. Let's do a couple of immune system chargers. Let's tap under the collarbones nice and vigorously. Big breaths. Right under those collarbones and now the center of the chest. Say ah with a smile if you can. Ah, good. And now the rib cage, knock on the ribs, all up and down the sides. Wake up your immune system. Good, and then shake it out. Okay, so we're gonna go from warrior 1 into warrior 3. So first let's practice warrior 3. So this is where your chair might be handy. If you think you'll use your chair, then I would recommend using the back of the tall part of your chair facing you. But you don't have to, you don't need it. If you don't need it, you don't need to use it. So we're gonna step on our right foot, step your right foot forward. And then pull your navel in and just lift your left foot up and down. Just lift it so you're activating your buns. And then squeeze your standing leg and start to hinge forward. Right at that hip crease, just hinge forward. You're going to keep those bones, those frontal hip bones, pointed down to the floor, just like we did in our bird dog. You're going to hinge as much as you can. Your hands are either going to come out to your sides for balance, out in front, or to your chair. Keep the lifted leg nice and active. The standing leg is firm. Breathe. This is warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. It's okay to fall out of it. It's okay to lose your balance. That means you're learning. It means you're building new connections in the body. Okay, so now go ahead and come out of that. Shake out your leg. We're going to move right to the other side. So standing on the left leg, start out slow. Make sure your foundation is established. Those toes should be pointed forward. Navel should be pulled in. Activate the right buns now. Let them know where you're going, what you're expecting. Once you lift your leg as far as it will go, which won't be that far, you'll start to hinge at your hip crease. lifting that leg up behind you. Maybe start with the chair and see if maybe one arm wants to let go or both arms want to let go. Maybe you'll have your arms behind you like airplane or jet wings. That's always a really nice one to practice. It's a little easier on the shoulders. Pull your belly in. You want to keep your back nice and protected here. 3, 2, 1. Start to slowly come out of it. Very nice. Lift your arms up. Feet are kind of wide. Exhale. Let it go. Bend your knees a little bit. Release your back. All right, we're gonna come up with a flat back. We're gonna take Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1, which we're familiar with, most of us. So step your right foot forward, and your right front heel is gonna line up about with your back heel. The leg is turned in just a little bit, front knee is bent. The arms come up, good. Open up your hands, spread the fingers really wide, and then turn your pinkies in toward each other. Good, you create external rotation in the shoulders here. Nice bend in the front knee. And breathe. Warrior 1. Okay, this is totally optional. This is where it will increase your heart rate even more if it's not already in your zone. You can go from Warrior 1 to Warrior 3. And from the side, it might look like stepping a few inches forward until you can get to Warrior 3. Some of you might just go flying right into it. Some of you might use the chair to get into it, but make that transition from Warrior 1 to Warrior 3. I like to kind of drag my toes and then lift. Take one breath in Warrior 3 and then bend your front foot and see if you can step back down into Warrior 1. It's advanced stuff. It's super optional. If you want to stay in one or the other, you can. We're going to try to do that one more time. Bring your weight into that front foot. Transition to Warrior 3. Hold your belly in. Breathe. One breath. And then step your back foot back down to the floor. Good. And relax. Shake it out. Bring your hands over your heart. Take a breath or two. Feel that heart working for you. Okay, I guarantee you I'm at the top end of my range, my heart rate range for cardiovascular fitness. So we're gonna do the other side now. So left foot is your forward foot, knee bent. Line up those heels. Coming into Warrior 1. Drop your shoulders away from your ears here. Now keep your belly pulled in, keep it engaged, and look out in front of you and find a spot to focus on. And if you're going to come into Warrior 3, you can do that now. Maybe bring your heel up a little bit and then leaning forward. One breath in Warrior 1, and then bend that front knee so you can softly plant the back foot, coming back into Warrior 1. Good. One breath here. Gaze out in front of you. Maybe you'll transition to Warrior 3 again. Pull the navel in. Breathe, and then softly back to Warrior 1. Good. Bring your hands to your heart and step your back foot forward. We're going to come right into some standing twists to release the spine. You guys did really great. Good. And then walk your feet in so that you're in a mountain pose, shoulders back and down. Take a moment here, just feeling both feet on the floor. How nice that feels to have some stability. Good. Let's all come to the floor. If you think you might use your chair for Shavasana, you'll want to turn it around so the seat is facing you. That's always an option, but we won't use it quite yet. Let's see how we're doing. Okay, so come onto your back. Squeeze your knees into your chest. Let's take a legs up pose. So bring your feet to the floor. Slide your block under your hips into a supported bridge pose. This might be really nice for you just like this. Or you might support that circulation and that heart, the heart and lungs, by lifting the legs so you get even more of a return of circulation and help the heart to recuperate, the breath to return to a natural state, natural rhythm, relaxed and smooth. When we are doing any cardiovascular exercise, when you want to have a little more water in your day, and I've been finding more and more that most people I work with and talk to are chronically dehydrated. So you want to at least drink half, like whatever your weight is, you want to divide your weight in half and then drink that amount of water in ounces, right? So if you're 150 pounds, you want to drink 75 ounces of water a day, at least. That's just for the bare minimum of your bodily functions, like your brain, your heart, your muscles, to not cramp, for your brain to work well, for your lymphatic system to have enough to flush out like toxins, right? So that's like the bare minimum would be 75 ounces, which is about 9+ glasses of water a day. But if you exercise, you want to increase that. So you always take the minimum amount and you add a glass or two, depending on how much you perspire when you exercise. So that's so important. If you add more exercise, you have to add more hydration. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Bring one foot at a time, gently to the floor. Good. Go ahead and remove that block. Take any final stretches you need. If you want another hip opener or a twist to release your back, take whatever you need. And then when you're ready, find yourself in Shavasana. And that's where the chair might come in handy. If you want to scoot your bottom really close to the chair and put your shins over the chair, your calves, you can do that. Especially if you have any low back stuff today, this is a really nice restorative pose. But do whatever you need to do to release any tension that built up in the body from your efforts today before you settle into your Shavasana. As your body begins to release efforts, notice if there's any place else that you could actively release or relax even more. Noticing anything in the face that might be able to release. Maybe the jaw or the brow. Noticing the deep rest of this pose of integration. Noticing the body's possible ability to rest more deeply as a result of your efforts. In yoga, we create a restful soul, a peaceful heart, and a settled mind. Menuchat HaNefesh, Lev Shalom, HaDa'at, I have returned home. Menuchat HaNefesh, Lev Shalom, HaDa'at, I have returned home. Menuchat HaNefesh, Lev Shalom, HaDa'at, I have returned home. And take some deeper breaths. Once again, feeling the weight of your body being held by gravity, maybe moving the body in some gentle ways. Taking your time, taking all the time you need to roll to your side and breathe there before rising up. And as you do, you might notice the body movements that go with this chant, and I invite you to join if you feel so moved. A restful soul, we give ourselves a hug. A peaceful heart, we put our hands on our chest. A settled mind, we bring our hands to our head. All of that means I have returned home, hands to the heart. Menuchat HaNefesh, Lev Shalom, HaDa'at, I have returned home. Menuchat HaNefesh, Lev Shalom, HaDa'at, I have returned home. Menuchat HaNefesh, Lev Shalom, HaDa'at, I have returned home. May all beings have a restful soul. May all beings have peaceful hearts. May all beings have settled minds. May all beings have health and peace. May it be so. Shalom.